Here we go. Doing some talking back. Yeah. How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Let's get to it. Go ahead. Take it away.
Yeah, there's been a lot of I mean, I had to be somewhat selective here today. So, okay. So let's just get to it. Thousands of media. This is from Philip Frigo. Thousands of media. Is it Frigario?
Frigario.
Yeah. Okay. I'm probably going to butcher words and names, and I'm sorry. Thousands of media companies around the world in the hands of very few ultra-rich companies or individuals. The personal views of those few do not interest me.
We were calling out the coverage during Top Censored News. We were covering out the coverage of the Iran conflict and how they presented and did not. It was the presenting of how Iran struck Tel Aviv, or how the deal. So there's all these different how they want to present it, and it's absolutely. We don't really give a crap about the ultra rich.
And it's all you're getting the same narrative from all these same people, and these people are ultra rich, and the people on TV are working for these ultra rich companies, and they have the same script and same narrative, and they're trying to tell us what they think and what they believe, and everybody else is looking at it and seeing. They're telling us not to trust our own lying eyes. We're seeing a different story, and then coming to different conclusions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Magia e transform Masha Sylvia. I can't say that. I'm not.
Leslie could probably help us.
Leslie would not. She'd knock it out of the park.
I'll take a gamble. I'll take a guess at it. Let me take a crack at it. Magia e transformación Sylvia. But she's saying, big hug for you guys from Brazil. You know what? That must be Portuguese. So
probably.
Yeah. So
probably,
which is that is a tough one. That is a tough
I struggle with Spanish. I have no hope getting through Portuguese.
Portuguese is a tough one. That's a tough one. But thank you. Big hug back to you.
Yes,
Sylvia,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
This is from Theocracy. Let's pray Israel doesn't resort to nukes. That's the big fear right now, because if things go badly and they don't get their way, this is our side's the side with the nukes, not their side. That's what I'm scared of.
Give some context to this, because we touched on it on Tuesday's show with co-host Jay Scott. We actually did look into the Samson option a little bit. I don't know, a lot of people don't necessarily watch both our shows throughout the week, but this is with you, Jayme. I do, and the audience watching right now, I was meaning to bring it up in the conversation. We just couldn't get to it. I think it might be a good time to put this on the table now, and let's talk about this, because what does it mean when Netanyahu goes on ABC and tells us that America first means America dead? What most people think that means is that Iran's going to kill us. There might be something more there of a threat directly to us, and that's why the Samson option comes into play. And if people don't know that, I'm going to play this 1-minute video to educate you. The Samson option was first discovered by Seymour Hersh, accredited journalist, Nobel Prize winning journalist Seymour Hersh, who's been on the forefront of uncovering cover-ups for many, many decades. This is the Samson option within the Israeli doctrine of the way they conduct their government. It's in the literal doctrine. Check it out.
Have never heard of the Samson option, but it's not a secret. It's on Wikipedia, in Israeli media, and it was first exposed by Jewish American journalist Seymour Hersh, the same Pulitzer Prize winner who uncovered Abu Ghraib. The Samson option is Israel's last resort nuclear doctrine. If the state faces collapse, it won't just strike its enemies. It plans to strike major world capitals. Not just Tehran or Damascus, but Washington, D.C., New York, Paris, Berlin, even cities in the countries that fund it. Recently leaked Israeli documents list these exact targets, confirming what Hersh warned about decades ago. This isn't a defense policy. It's global blackmail. A doomsday doctrine where the entire world becomes collateral if Israel falls. Iran has never threatened to nuke its allies, but Israel has, and still might. So ask yourself, If any other country had a doctrine like this, would we call it a democracy or a threat to civilization?
And more importantly, would we call it our ally if they are literally threatening to nuke their ally, not their enemy, their ally? Wow.
Maybe that's why they are our ally.
Now we start,
Keep your enemies close, or your friends close. Keep your enemies closer.
That might be it. You might have hit it on the head there, Jayme. That's it.
Maybe. There's a lot of old idioms and sayings, and they exist for a reason.
Yeah.
So,
but
that's my big fear with this conflict is that nukes will start flying, and
well, we'll pray that
let's hope it doesn't get to that.
Yeah, let's pray, like Theocracy says. Let's pray Israel doesn't resort to the Samson option, aka nukes.
Absolutely. All right, here's Leslie. I picked this out. Now, this I thought was interesting. I haven't heard this. I would love to hear confirmation of this, but Leslie heard that Argentina is taking in Israeli people. Who is behind Argentina? Follow up. Oh, wait, no, this one wasn't a follow up. So, yeah, who's behind Argentina? Well, we do know there were stories of Argentina taking in a certain group of people after World War II. And a lot of those people ended up fleeing to Argentina. And there's a lot of policy that exists in Argentina that kind of somewhat stems from maybe doing that. And even Argentina, didn't they say a couple months ago that Hitler faked his death and came to Argentina and I think the state officially claimed that that's what happened.
Well, yeah, no, there's definitely a paper trail there in Argentina. We've seen it. We've seen this. I would say good enough proof, 99% proof that a one by the name of, well, I won't say his name, but the first letter is H and it rhymes with
I said
Hitler.
it once, probably enough. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I don't know if I believe it, but I do know for a fact that they said it and they made the claim. So is it true? I don't know, but it could be. And those rumors have been existing for a long, long time. So they said he faked his death, went to Argentina and died in the 1960s.
Yeah.
And that's what Argentina said.
So yeah. And we've looked into that there's definitely a paper trail there. What Leslie is looking at here, which I have also seen the reports that there is some shady stuff going on in Argentina as far as a lot of drone sightings in this particular area and a lot of weird people are reporting some weird behavior. Also, we understand in Tel Aviv right now, in Israel as a whole, there's people trying to figure a way out because they were told by the Israeli ministry, they were told to stay put. They're not allowed to leave. So just on that starting point, the ones that want to get the hell out because they know now might be the time to make an exit. They're being told not to go. They're looking for a way to do this, and it's going to be so. We have to keep an eye on this, on the accuracy of how far this can go. But you can rest assured they're looking for options right now, and you never know. It could be Argentina, so we'll keep an eye on that one. But that is something that is. We'll consider this this story in development. I was going to put it on Top Censor News today, but I didn't have enough time to look fully into it. But
I think we need more to come.
We need
more
a little
information on this to come out as well.
Yeah, but we do know that the mainstream isn't going to tell us anything about it, so we have to do our own research in this. So thanks, Leslie, for pointing that out.
But it's just interesting because it's like they were welcoming of fascists at one point, and now they're welcoming of another group of people that seem to be awfully fascist. So, what's going on with Argentina? But it's like things don't change. They just don't change. Let's go. If this is true, I mean, we got to verify it. But it's an interesting rumor.
Yeah.
All right. More from Leslie. Cops protect the interest of the wealthy or powerful, I suppose. I read that totally wrong. Cops protect the interest of the wealthy and powerful, I suppose, not us. I've seen the cops treat we the people like doo-doo lately.
Well, so what we wanted to do today, but Caleb Maupin unfortunately had to reschedule with us. It's just been nuts with his travel schedule. But we were going to talk about our experiences in the streets. He was here in LA. He covered it for
Mhm.
a few different, just like we were
I
there
saw that.
covering it. We were actually, it's really funny. I wanted to tell him we were literally feet from each other because I've seen some of his footage. And I was like, oh my God, me, my guys with TRT and RT we were feet away. I didn't know he was there, but he had a different take on it. I wanted to, so we'll have this discussion next week for sure. But
Yeah,
no,
it does sound like a good discussion.
there is some shady shit going on with the cops in LA. But it goes back to the whole PSYOP thing and the conversation that Alex Stranger didn't really fully want to have. But I do understand. I appreciate he was open ears to the fact that, of course, if they're going to PSYOP your J6 thing, they're going to PSYOP the left side too. They're going to figure out a way to make it look like it was a terrorism attack, whether domestic or just make everybody look like they need to be taking their right to due process away because they completely went over the edge and they're completely out of their mind and they're dangerous and they're hurting our democracy, all that. So of course, and the cops are going to behave, and this part's important. The cops are going to behave differently if it's a lefty protest versus a right. The right, they're taking their selfies with them and opening up the doors of the Capitol. With the left, they have to create this situation where the cops are being attacked themselves and they have to fight back. It's a different mythology of how you go about it, but you create the chaos one way or the other. That's how you do it.
Yeah. Well, the shadiness with the cops in LA goes back to at least Rodney King over 30 years ago and probably further back than that. But it's nothing changed as a result of that. It's only gotten worse.
Yeah. Hey, I think we got a heckler bot on here. We want to try and block him.
I'm not keeping up with the chat since we started.
Yeah.
So I'll continue with
maybe
Jungle Bear.
Okay.
The U.S. and Israel are the ones who fucked over Iran, killed their negotiators, gave unrealistic ultimatum, and attacked first. So what do we expect them to do? And this is my sentiment as well. It's like, I think we were talking about how Iran will say death to America, death to Israel, death to England, and all that rhetoric that comes out of there. And I've seen the videos of it. I don't like seeing that. But I also remember after 9/11, there were a lot of people running around the streets of America saying, kill all the Muslims. So
yeah,
when something bad happens to your country and then you see the people being upset with the people who did the bad thing, I kind of get it. I understand where they're coming from. But their actions have proven over like the last few decades, they're not trying to kill us. I mean, they if anything, they want us to leave them alone. That's their big number one demand. Leave us alone, leave us in peace, lift the sanctions, and mind your own business, and we'll mind our own business. That's what I've always taken away from Iran.
Yeah. Well, look, I think we need to get one thing clear. This is another thing that we just didn't have time to talk about earlier, but maybe now is the time. Death to America was also propaganda to us since 9/11.
Yes.
It's not
Absolutely.
real. It's not accurate. It's been misinterpreted on purpose to us to make us think that they want to kill all American citizens. That's not a thing. It's never been a thing. There's another interpretation that it means a bigger cause that they're against, which is American imperialism. That's the essence of it. And when you say death to America, the real translation should be this. The accurate translation is death to American rulers. That's what it means. I'm not making this up. That's what it means. Death to American rulers. Don't take my word for it. Listen to the supreme leader himself, which also is misinterpreted. We call it supreme leader when it's literally just another name that we say president or ruler. Just so you know, that's another it's just how we like to make Iran look like they're this awful place. Now, look, obviously they have issues with how they treat women and all this stuff, but you're talking about declaring war on a people and pretending that they want every one of us to die. It's not true. Listen to him. He's going to tell you what it actually means. Here it is. Here, I'll take that off. Take the comment off.
گله میکنن که چرا ملت ایران میگن مرگ بر آمریکا. اولا بنده این رو برای
Let's make something clear for our U.S. leaders. Let me make something clear. Death to America means death to Trump, John Bolton, and Mike Pompeo. It means death to American rulers. We have no problem with the American people. Death to America is about the rulers of America. Very important distinction. Very important distinction. It's the concept of American imperialism. That's what gets them angry. They have the ability to separate that from the actual people that live here. Yeah, that's important. Right. That's important.
But as an American, it's still not good to hear that you want to kill our leaders. I mean, that's
that's funny.
You don't get to do that.
Really? Because Trump just tweeted out that he's going to kill their leader.
Oh, I know.
Saying, like, what are we talking about here?
But that's my point is for them to have their reaction.
Yeah.
It makes sense because we're saying the same kind of thing.
But it's actually coming from our president. He's not saying I'm going to kill Trump. The supreme leader isn't saying I'm going to kill Trump. He's saying when people are chanting it, this is what they mean. They mean the American rulers.
Well, I understand what he's saying.
But Trump is actually tweeting out, we're going to kill your leader.
Yeah. I totally understand where he's coming from. I know why he's saying it. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Somebody comes in, wrecks your house, you're going to be upset with that person. And yeah, you're going to want retribution. So I understand it completely. That doesn't mean I like it, but I don't like what we did in the first place. I fully understand and recognize we started this mess, and everything that's happening now is a direct result, are the consequences of our actions in the past. So, I mean, we are as culpable as anything else, or probably most culpable in all of this. So, I think this was a follow-up from Jungle Jerry. He said, they don't hate Americans, and you just kind of went over this. They don't hate Americans and our way of life. That was a lie told to us our whole lives. What they hate is, wait for it, us bombing their countries and overthrowing their governments. Absolutely. Like, it makes sense why they're acting this way, because we did that to them. So, yeah, of course they hate us. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
All right. This is something that I'm really concerned about this. And we've talked about it before, but ChatterX says more false flags are coming. Don't be fooled. And I'm actually very worried about this, because that means more dead Americans, and they're going to blame Iran for these dead Americans no matter what happens. And the reason why I believe we've got a false flag incoming is because they need to get the American population on board with this war. And right now, clearly the American population is not on board with this war. It's like something where between 70 to 80% of Americans are saying, no, we don't want it. So that's where you get the false flag to try to change the opinion of the American people. And what that means is they're going to choose a group of Americans somewhere, and they're going to sacrifice them. And then they're going to find a way to blame Iran for it, to make you go do it, to go to war with them. So keep an eye out, keep your eyes open, because I think this is something that very well could happen, and it's going to make people very emotional. You don't like to see dead Americans. I mean, that's like one thing that really, really can get Americans up and wake them up stir them up into a frenzy. They've done it to us before. They'll do it again. I mean, that was the USS Liberty was supposed to be a false flag that was unsuccessful. And I'm really worried about that. So like ChatterX is right. We need to be aware. And I think our audience is going to be pretty astute about this, but we need to make sure that other people are fully aware that this is a possibility that's legitimately on the table right now. They want to go to war. Washington has wanted this war with Iran for 40 years. And this is the closest they've come, but they can't. It's hard to push forward and make it happen when you don't have the popular support of the people. So they got to create a reason to get that popular support from the people.
Yeah.
And they're going to, I fully believe that they'll do it. I mean, if they've done it before, they'll do it again.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm glad ChatterX made that point in the comments.
we should just do a show, like a spin-off show from the homeless left that's just false flags like that. We should just do a show on false flags, because that's we constantly have to be looking in the past at how they happened, identifying them, looking at the, how they do it, the blueprint, and then looking ahead at where's the next one coming, what will it look like. That's like an all-day job, right? Just that.
That's what most of the show I do earlier on Left on Left, what I do with Gloria and Jayme, that's mostly, they talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
And Jayme has studied all these different incidents going way, way back of where these things have occurred, and how it's been used as a tool to manipulate the American people.
Yeah.
It's and it's not always a false flag. Sometimes Gloria calls it a let it happen. You're aware of something that's going to happen, and then you stand down and don't defend yourself or stop it. And then you use it. I mean, you could say Pearl Harbor was like that. There's a lot of evidence that we might have known that it was coming, and because they moved a lot of the really, really valuable assets like 80 miles south of the island, and then didn't tell anybody it was going to happen. So, I mean, a lot of people say that's a conspiracy theory. There's definitely stuff out there that really kind of backs up that theory, though. So. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see more people dying. I don't actually like seeing Tel Aviv get hit right now. And I mean, I'm not shedding a tear. I don't have pity, but I don't like seeing it happen. So I don't want war. I want all of this to stop.
Yeah. I don't like it either, but what I do like is just to have them feel just a little bit.
There's Schadenfreude involved. Absolutely.
Because these guys, I mean, these horrible people, whatever it is, 80% of them, whatever the effing number is, have been dancing and celebrating, having barbecues in front of starving people, doing observation decks, bussing children out to watch these people getting murdered right next door, parties on the beach, Instagram posts, IDF soldiers mocking the people they just murdered, wearing their lingerie, doing dances, dancing around their house. So I'm just
the dead.
I'm just the idea. Look, I'm with you. That we don't want anyone to die, anyone to get murdered, and that are just civilians. That's horrible. But just them looking up in the sky and seeing that shit and where it's going to land, and when their cars get blown up, and I've seen them go, oh, what's going on? Just that moment of. Just to feel that for 1 second.
Yeah.
And then that's good. That's good. That's good. Just that feeling. I want you to feel I don't want to wish death on you. I just want you to feel just a little ounce, just an ounce of what you've been mocking and celebrating. That's all.
The hypocrisy is astounding too. And then, but you also can see some of the absolute confusion on their faces. I wish video, I don't have it queued up, so I'm not going to grab it. But this is one woman who's like, why is this happening? We didn't do anything. You didn't do anything? What are you serious? Do you honestly believe you didn't do anything? You attacked these people first, unprovoked, and you didn't do anything?
If you're told your whole life that you're the victim and the world's against you, then you'll never, ever notice it when right in front of your face, you are attacking everyone around you. You don't notice, you don't see it. And so you didn't, Yemen couldn't pull this off. They were ready to, they wanted to. Lebanon couldn't pull this off. Obviously Gaza couldn't pull this off, but Iran could. Iran can't.
I don't like seeing the Palestinian children that are dying and suffering from all this. I don't like seeing the Iranian children that are being terrorized right now. And I don't like seeing the Israeli children going through the same thing. None of this should be happening. It's all wrong, but I understand why it's happening. And unfortunately, I think this might be the only way to get the message through to the Israelis. Yeah, but it shouldn't happen. We should have stopped it before it got to this point. And it's very tragic all around.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's another one from ChatterX. Moving on. The U.S. just took over after the British Empire collapsed. Pretty much. I'd say the British Empire never ended, right? it still exists. America became the seat of power, but I think it's now the Western Empire, what we call the collective West, the Five Eyes countries are now the new empire. And so it never ended. The US is in the driver's seat, but I think all of the countries are on board. It's not just us. So
I think there's an idea though ChatterX is referring to is that there's a little bit of a torch being passed at who is in the driver's seat.
Well, and that torch was passed after World War II.
We received the torch and we were happy to run with it. But people that don't know the British Empire, their history is just because of the years and years of the most horrible shit. I don't know if we can even get to that. I mean, we're pretty bad, but it's pretty.
And the thing is, they didn't relinquish the control. They didn't relinquish the control when it came to a lot of the financial stuff, the finances and the banking. A lot of that still resides in London. And that's where London still has a big part in all of this. So they gave up the military might. They handed over that to us. We became the enforcers of the empire. But London still thinks they're the financial center.
Financial.
New York has a lot to do with that as well. So
sure.
And even Paris.
Well, the empire
it's still there.
The empire is falling. That is happening. We're living through it.
And empires do what empires do, and empires are generally not a good thing. All right. This is a quote from
Wishigo.
Quote from Smedley Butler, I believe. War is just a racket. A racket is best described, I believe, as something that is not what it seems to the majority of the people. Only a small inside group knows what it's all about. It's conducted for the benefit of the very few at the expense of the masses. So yes, it's Smedley Butler, 1933. I think we really should be teaching him a lot more than we do. But I know our audience knows who he is. I'd say he's an American hero, somebody who fought for this country, did the bidding of this country, and then realized what he thought he was fighting for was not what he was actually fighting for. And he went on tour and tried to tell the American people exactly what it was all about. I think he did do us a service.
Yeah.
So do Israelis live in a media bubble? I think they might. Alex doesn't believe it's as bad as it is. To my understanding, they do. Like Israelis only know that which is told to them by their government. This is why some people say Americans are the most propagandized people on the planet. And I say, no, I think we're the second most. Israel is definitely more propagandized than we are. And I do believe they're in a media bubble. And I think when you see some of these people, like, I wish I had the video with the woman who say, why is this happening to us? There looks like sincerity on her face because she doesn't really know.
Yeah.
And they're told that what they're doing is a good thing. Everything that they're doing is a good thing. And all these horrific atrocities are positive. So I think that comes from living in a media bubble. So thank you, Freedom Finder 123.
Well, look, I will say this. I do have a friend that lives in Israel. I hadn't talked to her for years. We reconnected. Good person. I don't know what happened to her, but she seems to be on point on a lot of things. Like we talked about COVID. That was a great conversation, a great catch up. How did you deal with COVID? And she's very aware of how media corruption works and societal turning people on each other. Very aware, very smart person. But she's living in Israel. And like I started talking to her again right after October 7th. And I was still learning about what was the full nature of Israel's wrath that I didn't know at that time. I didn't know about. We were doing the show and I was telling her about the show. I said, you should watch. But I didn't know about the Hannibal Directive yet. I didn't know. So these things we've been learning along the way. But when I would check in with her, we would talk. And it was bizarre, Jayme. It was bizarre. She seriously is in a bubble there. She seriously is telling me that these things are not what I think they are. and that Israel's this beautiful place, and it's not what I think. And I heard her out, and I listened to her, and I just, something is off there, and I don't know how it happened. I don't know what's going on there, but we don't talk anymore. I don't know. I haven't checked in with her since this thing. Maybe I should. You have to have a lot of patience and a lot of.
I've got another
you have
video.
to go into a conversation with someone that is so not. By the way, if she's a Zionist, which I think she is, she's an exception. She's the only Zionist I know that is that show. Like it's so like I have to be so. Take a breath. Because she doesn't behave like these other Zionists here do. The ones here are vicious. But it's hard. It's hard. I maybe I should check in with her, but it is so bizarre, and it must be the media bubble. It must be the media bubble that does that to her. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Man, I've got another video I would love to share, but I don't know. It's about 2 minutes long, and it's from 1989. And it's a Palestinian woman speaking to a bunch of Israelis. Do you want me to share it?
Okay.
Let's watch this.
All right.
As you see, I'm a Palestinian, far away from you. And I've come here to talk about what's going on outside and to see what you feel about meeting me and talking about your attitudes towards what I feel. A lot of time we've been spending it at house without schools, and you know the reason why. And because they were shot, and we didn't have much time to study the things you studied. So we had to cross 2 years and 1 year, and that's much different.
Yes, but I also think that our activities are sometimes different. I mean, I don't go with my friends and throw stones at soldiers.
How could you? How would you? I mean, why? Because you're living in a state. You're not occupied. We are.
Yes, but I still, even if I were occupied, I don't think I would do these things in order to solve it.
You don't live the situation we are living. You don't see soldiers killing people. You never had your brother arrested, have you? Have you ever seen him bleeding? Have you ever seen him beaten up? And he's a small kid. Why? Because he wants land, wants a government. I mean, this is not a good situation. It's not good. You don't feel good. I don't think you feel good. This is.
Maybe ruler wants to find the solution. I didn't hear, you say, but I'm sure there are other Palestinian kids who want this situation to continue. And showing, the situation this way, I don't think it's very fair, because then you give you and your country the only choice of sympathizing with ruler and not with us. See?
We have 21 Arab states, okay? And they're ready to take Palestinians there. But why don't we live in our land? Why should strangers come and kick us out and stay in our land, and we should find another state? Why?
Not strangers.
What? Our cousins?
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I wish they didn't put the hatred in their eyes, because I want to.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I think that's a little bit misleading.
I don't want to be told what to think, but there's absolutely no question a disconnect and a kind of in the eye. There's definitely this looking down on somebody who's not at the level they're at, and so the conversation then isn't honest, because it's starting on the premise that you're not as valuable. You're just on a lower level of the echelon of how God sees us. And that's what that's how you get Zionism. Zionism is that. It is a supremacy. We talk about white supremacy all the time. Oh my God, everyone's so on the left. Oh my God, we have to watch out for Trump's followers who are white supremacists. And so, with no idea, what does that mean to be a white supremacist? What does it mean to have that supremacy with anything? And the fact that you can't see that that's what this is. It's supremacy. It's Jewish supremacy. That's what it is. That's what Zionism is. It's I'm superior to you. It's the definition. It's a God's chosen. That's what it is. So why and then we're back to this anti-Semitism discussion, which is crazy. It would be like, oh, our biggest problem in our country is anti-white nationalists, anti-white supremacist. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like that's what we have to deal with. That shit. But it's in the eyes. There's absolutely a superiority complex in the eyes. So you're not starting the conversation from an honest place where the Palestinian woman wants to have let's try and be empathetic. What would you like? What do we do here? What would you do? And they're not starting for that honest place.
Let me ask you this question too. As a filmmaker watching that video, do you believe that's real and not a staged?
No, of course that's real.
You think that's okay? I think it's real too.
The only thing unreal, you putting the text on the top, look at the hatred, putting music. Oh, I tell people this.
I hate that too.
Always be careful of when you're trying to share with people that you're trying to convert to non-tribal think, right? Because we want to convert as many people. It's not really converting, it's unconverting. We want to get them out of the thing they were converted to. Go non-tribal. Don't share clips of things that have music behind it because their first reaction is, oh, you're trying to manipulate me with emotion. That's a problem.
This is before Sarah McLachlan too. So
yeah, don't do that. Let it speak for itself. Unless you're producing an actual documentary, you actually do need to have musical transitions and voiceovers and text. You need to say, here we are this year. That's a filmmaker aspect. But when you're sharing raw footage that's a minute, 2 minute, 5 minute long, share without any edits, no text telling you what to think, and certainly no music behind the soundtrack trying to get you to emote. I will emote on my own. The shit is so bad, I will feel what I'm gonna feel on my own. So that's a warning to people. Don't try and convert people with that type of stuff. That's all
right. So Chatter X again says, so every time they say rules-based order, they actually mean protection racket. I think that's a really good way of putting it. I mean, we've been saying that our foreign policy is a protection racket, and to connect that to rules-based order, to me, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Chatter X.
Which she go again? I stand with those against a war with Iran, whoever they may be. Shame on those who don't. I mostly agree with that. I think I'm pretty sure that there are some exceptions out there of people I might not want to stand with who are against the war, but I'll still be against the war. But yeah, in general, I definitely agree with that. You say the same thing, Matt?
Well, yeah. Shame on those who don't, because okay. So reword it. When you say you don't stand against so that's a double negative. What they're saying is, what Wishigo's saying is, I'm against. Shame on anybody who's for war with Iran right now. Yes. I don't care what your logic is, your excuse is. There is no excuse. I'd much rather that you stayed out of it and said, I don't have an opinion on it. I'll forgive that. I'll forgive that more than when you don't have an opinion of children getting murdered in Gaza. But if you think Iran's a separate issue that, oh, well, I don't really know. I don't really have an opinion. Fine. Stay out of the conversation. Fine. But
I like the way you flipped that and then showed the double negative and made
it is a double negative, but that's what Wishigo means. Shame on anybody who's pro war with Iran right now.
That's a good catch. I like the way you rephrased that. That is very, very good.
Yeah.
All right. Wishigo also adds, are we the baddies? I'd say yes, we are the baddie. We are not the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard for Americans to come to this, to accept that. It's very, very difficult. You go into a place and say, hey, we're not the good guys. And man, people will you want to see them blow their tops. They'll go nuts if you try to tell them that we're not the good guys. But it's not us. It's our government. It's our rulers. It's not, they're the bad ones. But I mean, there's a responsibility on us to stop them, and we haven't stopped them. We've allowed them to do what they do. NATO should have been abolished over 3 decades ago. Yes, when the Soviet Union fell, there was no more need for NATO. That was its sole purpose, and we don't need it. In fact, because it still existed, Russia wanted to be our friends. They wanted to join NATO, and they were refused because NATO wants to fight Russia. So 100%. That's their purpose for existing.
Yeah, but people they don't want to hear what our adversary Putin has anything. They don't want to hear what he has to say. He talks about this. He had that interview with Tucker Carlson last year. Nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody on the left wanted to hear it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you're engaging with our enemy and having a conversation. And he walks us all through. Look, we know, we have historians that know this, that we've been very clear about this, the history, our relationship, NATO's relationship with the rest of the world. We know about Clinton bombing the crap out of Yugoslavia in 1999. We know that every single time, we break our word, we break our treaties. We say not 1 inch to the east, not 1 inch to the east. We break it every time. Ukraine will not. Don't worry, we won't. Ukraine's not going to join NATO. We're not going to do any. And then it's like the Minsk agreement. Never mind, ha. And then we mock it and go, oh, we were just joking. We're yeah. And then you got the Nord Stream pipeline and Joe Biden saying we're going to take care of business. We're going to show you. We're going to teach you a lesson. And then no, we didn't do it. No, we didn't. Wink, wink, wink. So it's like, come on, guys, learn the history. Clearly, NATO is the problem here. Clearly, NATO should have been abolished. Noam Chomsky told us it should have been abolished. It's not a radical idea. Oh my God, can you believe that radical lefty Noam Chomsky told us to? No, it just needs to be gone. There's no other terrorist organization that is this diabolical on the planet. But we talk about Israel and Zionism, but it's all linked. The Israel, U.S., Western, NATO war machine is all one big cabal of terrorists. That's what it is. It all should be
Western Empire.
All of it should be abolished. Good.
Yeah. And it's funny you bring up the Nord Stream thing, because Tucker and Ted actually talk about it.
Oh, I did not see that part.
At one point. Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
You got to watch the whole interview.
Okay.
It is not a slog. It is 2 hours long, but it is not a slog. It is like watching a sporting event, a good one. So
good. Good for Tucker. Seriously, good stuff.
And speaking of that, we're going to get to that in a second. So ShatterX said the IMF, WF is the financial arm of the NATO AUKUS. It's the military arm of the globalists, fascists, the imperialists. Yes. And then I think we just talked about that, but that went together with the previous comment.
Yeah.
So Leslie, she says, moving on to Tucker, this is where I want to get to. Leslie says, never thought I'd like Tucker so much. And I'm the same way. If you went back 15 years, told me 2010, I would be cheering for Tucker Carlson. I would say you're insane and crazy. Get out of my face. But here we are. I mean, he's not exactly the hero we want or need, but he's the hero we have.
Yeah. And well, look, I will say 2 things off of this. One, it's not the first time Tucker has done something important, said something out loud. So we've had this feeling before when right before Fox News fired him, he went on a podcast over that weekend and he said, I was the bad guy. For 20 years, I've defended CIA talking points. I did. So he admitted to being the bad guy. There are people that said, no, that's just him trying to get clicks. I go, well, he got fired the next week. So that happened. Okay, well, maybe he was trying to position himself. So, and I've had these debates with Craig too about what's Tucker really up to. I go, but we have to celebrate the moment that he gets something right. That's what we have to do. So I'll take this. I'll piggyback off this comment. I never thought I'd like Tucker so much. I'll say this. I knew I'd like him, what he did, because he's proved to me that he can step up at a good moment. But I'm going to change the wording on my interpretation. It's not that we like him. We like what he does. And we have to have this verbiage very consistent with anybody we like or don't like. Let's stop liking and disliking people. Let's like their actions and dislike their actions. Then we can feel we can be more non-tribal when we call them out. If tomorrow Tucker does something really horrible, we say we don't like that action. Doesn't take away from this action. And that's why I tell people who say, well, but what about all the horrible shit he did for 20 years on Fox? I go, well, yes, that's horrible. What's good, though, is independently is he said, I was the bad guy for 20 years. So let's look at them as separate events. Let's look at the actions, not the person. What are the actions doing? And then we can respond to those. So yes, right on, Leslie, on the Tucker moment, and let's all celebrate it. It's a great moment. And I'm glad Craig agreed to, because part of me was thinking, is he going to push back and say Tucker is still positioning his right-wing media thing and he's trying to get in the position?
Well, look, when you watch
this is a good moment.
When you watch the interview, there are things that Tucker's going to say you're not going to like. I'll tell you that right now. But
then that's fine.
But look, what you do see with Tucker is he takes in new information and then he incorporates it into his political paradigm. So he changes some of his positions based off of the new information he learns and accepts as truth. And he uses a lot of that to challenge Ted. There are definitely areas where I think Tucker could have been a little bit better. I think he could have pushed back in different ways. They touched on Ukraine, but it was towards the end of the interview. I wish they could have had like another 30, 45 minutes just talking about Ukraine. And there were definitely points I know Tucker knows that he could have made that he didn't make, because it was a back and forth. It wasn't as one-sided as people are saying it is. Ted actually did get a couple jabs in here and there, but Tucker really he came out on top big time. But it wasn't one-sided. It wasn't completely one-sided. Right. Yes, they call you a racist, sexist, homophobic, or other stupid things if you aren't manipulated into following them. And this is the tactic that they use, the other side uses against us. And we absolutely
the other side, the establishment, the media, they use this tactic anytime someone goes against the state narrative, whatever it is. I mean, we know the usual suspects. Here's the list. You guys know the list, right? It's anti-Semitic. It's homophobic, racist, sexist. We got the Bernie Bros. We know what they did to us. The whole Bernie Bros. You hate women. That's why you didn't vote for Hillary. You got the anti-vax, the anti-mandate. You want to kill grandma if you wanted the country to open. You're pro-Putin. You're anti-American, right? Oh, you're a white nationalist. All these things. So there's all these, and of course, the ultimate one that they throw at us is, you conspiracy theorist, you son of a bitch. That one. That's the ultimate. Yeah. That's the umbrella one. That's the one that gets you to that diminishes your character, who you are, and then people are less likely to listen to what you have to say.
That has all those things as badges of honor on the t-shirt.
Oh, that'd be cool to have a little badge for each one of those. I'm all these things, which means I've challenged all those things. Yeah,
that would be pretty cool. Leslie says a thank you to the chat from Leslie. She says, "You guys, I wish I had friends like you in real life. Seriously, 100%. You're all my new friends." Okay, thank you.
That's true.
So Leslie's having a good time in the chat. At least she was earlier.
Yeah, well, we don't have friends like you guys watching our show. We don't have friends like you in LA here. We just don't. They don't. They're all captured. They're all.
We talked about bubbles. I mean, there's an LA bubble.
Yeah,
a lot of people live in.
Yeah,
and I don't think you're trapped in it. I mean, you're trapped inside the bubble, but you're not in the thought bubble.
No, but it's hard. It's hard to be right next to it. It's like right here. Yeah. It's right in front of us. So you get outside of the bubble and talk to people that aren't there, and that's why I think Jimmy Dore didn't go down the same path as TYT, because TYT's in a bubble, but Jimmy Dore travels across the country and sees people in small town America all over the place when he does his shows. So he gets outside of the bubble and sees what people are thinking outside of LA. And I think that's one reason that really helped him see things where other commentators couldn't. Well, also he wasn't taking Katzenberg money from the Hillary family.
That helps as well. That big money bubble. Yeah. But there's also the Washington, D.C. bubble is also very bad. I think Congress has its own bubble within the bubble, because, I'm starting to think a lot of these our politicians actually believe the stuff that they say, because they're told by other people in Washington that's what you need to think, and then they don't question it, they're just paid to think it, or they actually believe it. All of them are bad. It's another bubble, another form of it.